Tina, how are you?
Anything going on tonight?
What's that?
Anything going on tonight?
Well, we've got a COA review. Pardon?
Nope.
No, we don't have any
And he
agenda.
didn't leave us one, so,
But
that's all right.
So we got a COA review, and
That's
is he
basically-
still going to be here?
No.
Okay, we do have a new member.
Yes. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'll be able to get to those sophisticated ladies.
Are you going to sophisticated ladies?
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to hurt you, woman.
I have season tickets. If you,
I'm gonna have to hurt you. I didn't give it up to work.
Is that
Tell me.
tonight? Is that tonight it starts?
Started last night.
Oh. It looks good.
It's a wonderful
it's
show.
too early to, how could it not be?
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
So Charlotte is not going to be here.
Okay.
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's
She's
too
out
bad,
of
but we'll miss her.
Did anyone get a copy of minutes?
I saw the minutes via email, but
Some of the minutes, yeah, I have minutes copies, yeah, yeah, I do.
I'd like to see
Here's a-
the hard copy. Thank you. But there seemed to be a pretty important part of this part missing.
Okay, well,
We'll discuss that when we get there. I just want to get the old minutes up and get my notes.
Okay, here I am.
Too.
I guess we've got 4 minutes.
Yep.
The farmer's market is great.
Is it?
It's
I
wonderful.
ran like crazy. I did see somebody, it was on Facebook, the farmer's market's open.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I sent you a thing.
No, it was just
Yeah.
like, just when I was checking before I left the house, that there were
Oh.
tents and people with dogs,
Uh-huh.
so people were
So really, it's so great if we
checking it out.
have a farmer's market right here in Wiscasset.
I was just happy that it wasn't raining, because I thought it was supposed to rain.
I know, this morning.
Yes, I'm like, oh no, farmer's market. And I saw cream baking down there.
Yep.
Yeah,
You what?
I saw
Cream baking
down there.
and Pop's Greenhouse and Lions Farm, which is lavender, Big Barn Coffee, microgreens, and those nice people from New Sharon, and I cannot think of their farm's name, isn't that awful? Well, anyway, they have things of meat.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hope it just
and,
continues to get bigger and better.
Yeah, I do too. It's just,
So much easier than driving all the way to Brunswick and back. Where do you
know.
farmer's market, Gina?
Back.
Okay, it's a nice one, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
yeah. And there's a good one over in Damascus too.
Yeah,
Much
but
smaller.
We never
It's,
stop.
but during a weekday, right? It's kind of a weird.
It's a Friday morning.
Yeah, it's hard for me.
The one in Booth Bay is really good.
Is it?
That's
It's
Thursday.
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning, yeah. I hit it
Work
after
is
dark.
really getting in the way of my fun.
Well, I can say I did have Mammy's raviolis. I got the
Mammy's
Sicilian
is
approval,
good.
so, yeah.
Good.
I had their eggplant parmesan.
And I got the onion bread tonight too,
Good try.
which was basically what I sustained myself on all day, so.
I guess we don't need to worry about the mics being on, do we?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. Do they? Are they connected to the
They're like over there somewhere. Where are we looking for?
Oh,
mics?
nice. I think we're okay.
Yeah, because I've seen Kathy come in and turn them on over there, but.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll hope.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, yeah.
If not,
501,
just. I'll
You wanna
bring
put your
the,
things down. I'm not memorize.
I'll bring the open the meeting of the Wiscasset Historic Commission at 5 o'clock on June 6th. And I'm the chairman, Susan Blagden, Leslie Roberts, and Pam Logan.
Greetings all.
Our new member, unfortunately, Phil DeVries, is not here. He had to be in Vermont so that he could finish the final editing of his new book.
Oh,
Yay, Phil.
Gosh.
Is it
And-
another Wiscasset book?
Yeah.
Yes!
And he was very sad that he wasn't going to be here.
Well, that's okay, that's a good reason, because I have all
Yes.
those other books, so.
Absolutely. So, the first order of business is a COA from David and Linda Stetson, represented by Ann Scanlon, and Julie's not coming, or?
She cannot make it.
Okay, fine. It'll all be on your shoulders, my dear. May I have a motion?
Thanks for making it, Tom.
Yeah.
I know it's
Thanks,
hard.
Ann.
May I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to begin the review.
No, approve.
To,
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, we're gonna make a motion to approve the COA.
And you seconding?
Yeah, second. Do you want,
I didn't understand.
All those in
what we were
favor?
doing. Okay, aye,
hi,
we're doing
Okay.
this.
Before you consider action at meetings of this sort, you should have a motion to put it on the floor to be discussed. You don't do the discussion and then the motion.
thank you.
And as chairman,
Susan's whipping us in the shape here. She's got
and
the
as
rules
chairman,
down.
I will not make a motion.
Okay.
So it's going to be up to you
Okay,
two and
yes.
Phil, and anyone else we can rope in. So that having been said, the COA is to allow a placement of a sign down the street on the old, at the corner of Water Street and Route 1, on the old Wiscasset Hardware building. And it's a professionally made sign. So, I'll open it up for discussion.
Do you want to bring your chair up here so you can sit a little closer to us?
Sure.
Come and get cozy. So, I talked to Ann earlier today and asked her if she wouldn't mind giving us the measurements of that large sign that's already on the side of the building. Because there is a total square footage allowance in the town ordinance, so she was good
I do
enough
have
to
that.
bring us all the numbers.
And I actually, so I did, because of that, I did measured every sign,
Okay.
including the door sign inside,
Oh,
which you can't
wow.
really see. So it's all here, from inches converted into square feet. And it all tallies up, including the new sign, to 66.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I'll pass this around.
And this is the side sign I'm referring to when I
Yes.
say the Sylvan sides,
Okay,
which you
thank
can't really
you.
see because of the glare.
Oh, you've got something for everybody. All right. That's great, because that was my only concern, was going over the allotted square footage with that sign.
Which, that's the Sylvan side
Yep.
sign.
Mm-hmm.
And you think you might move that side sign around to the back of the building?
I don't know yet. I wanted to see how much the visibility of that sign was blocked. There is a space in the back of the building that it could be moved to.
Mhm. So
So-
people see it as they're coming over the bridge. Yeah, it's a good
That's
idea.
sort of up in the air, but that could potentially happen.
Yeah, okay.
Your sign is two-sided or one-sided?
Two-sided.
Two-sided.
That's good.
So it can be seen from
The
both
the
directions.
banner sign is two-sided.
Correct.
So do we count that square footage twice then, or do we only count it once?
I
What do you mean?
believe it's twice.
Well,
But
okay,
I'm
so
not
what we're
sure-
shooting
I'm not sure,
for,
let me,
Well, that would take it over then if it is.
That would take it over, that's the problem. Okay, so the town ordinance, section 12, signs within the downtown sign district, 12.8, total sign area of all signs per lot shall not exceed 75 square feet. So that would be my only concern is if the banner sign is two-sided, do you count that square footage twice?
I wouldn't think so. Do you have a clarity on it? I wouldn't think so. I mean, it's the same square footage sign. If that would be,
I mean, if I were to make a call, I would agree with you because I would rather we make, whatever decisions we make are as business friendly as possible, so.
yeah, I mean, this is, it's not taking up any more space than it already is.
Right.
That's it. It's its own entity, you know.
What do you think?
That is not our call.
It's Bruce. Bruce
Yeah.
will have to make a phone call.
I'm just trying to see where it says that.
In
It
the,
used to be,
the 2017 town ordinance is section 12.
yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have this ready.
Well, as far as, then, if Bruce has a say in it, then if he says go, I'm good with it.
I am too,
Yeah.
if Bruce is okay with it.
Okay.
I think the signs look really nice. I love the window signs. I think they're beautiful, and you guys have done a nice job making sure that all the signs kind of all look similar in
Yeah.
nature.
I think it looks great.
Well, the sign that they are proposing, we do have a slight problem in our historic preservation ordinance. I can find that somewhere.
See, I couldn't find one because I consider this sign, the only possibility that I saw was the fact that the upper mount was above the second story window ledge. Is that what you're referring to, Susan?
Yeah, but also, sorry. Nothing is right side up today.
Do you know what number it is, whereabouts?
I didn't print that everywhere. So you can't seem to get on the line. I think it was section 16. Section 16.1, general sign calculation standards.
Oh, in the general?
You're in the-
Not in the.
No, I just, no,
Historic.
that's,
Yeah.
no, that's a different section for the historic ordinance. Do you see where that is, Pam?
Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, better to be clear.
Oh, okay. Section 10.7.1, signs.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was looking
Okay, got it.
for.
So the only thing that I thought might have been a little bit of an issue was section A, locations, wall signs shall be generally located no higher than the windowsill line
Where are
of the
you?
second story. 10.7.1.4A.
Point
Okay, 0.4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at
Yeah.
1.1, yeah.
7.7.1.4A. The use of continuous, So the windowsill line of the second story, and this sign is just a teeny bit above the windowsill line. Seems
Yeah, there would be other signs breaking that rule in town.
Yeah.
That would be the case.
There probably are, but they were not erected after the historic preservation ordinance.
There were, actually. I don't
Well,
know.
there may have been, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
You're also dealing with, looks like power lines there as well.
But it says shall generally. Shall generally, to me, feels like that is, you know, it's a suggestion and not a hard and fast rule. Because if they lower it, then they're not going to have visibility from Route 1. If it's too low, no one will be able to see it.
I think they're just concerned with the visibility through the windows, and
Yeah.
you're not gonna have that issue.
Is it possible to lower that slightly?
If you lower it slightly, it's still going to be above the windowsill. And if you lower it below the windowsill, it will be virtually, it won't be very visible from Route 1. I think then they lose the sign becomes less valuable because you can't see it.
I think the one other concern was,
Walking up and down the
downstairs to create-
stairs. Yeah.
Mhm.
The sign would get in the way of people walking
Yeah.
up and down the
Just
stairs.
want to make sure there was a good clearance.
Yeah.
Makes
Or
sense.
ready to call for some.
Do we have a picture of it, of that side of the building? Am I not?
This one?
Yeah, I see that one.
This one?
Yeah. But that doesn't show the sign.
Yeah, but you can imagine the sign's going to come down to about, it's gonna come down just to below where the current sign is, right, Ann? So like the bottom bracket would be just about where the bottom of the current
Correct.
gallery sign is.
Right.
So it'd come just to about here,
Mhm.
Susan.
It's not blocking anything. And as long as that tree stays trimmed, you're okay.
Well, right. I think that all signs should be generally located no higher than the windowsill line of the second story.
Does this help you, Susan? So she's talking about here to there.
Yeah, well, the windowsill sign, this is why I wanted this view of it. The windowsill sign, the windowsill
It's
of
here.
that is higher than the one on the front.
Yes.
Therefore, I think that the sign will meet the qualifications if the actual mount, here is the building. I mean, I should do there's the building. If the sign is mounted on this piece,
Yes.
as opposed to being mounted on this piece, then I think it comes within the
Okay.
intent of it, don't you? Because then that will be, I think,
Okay, no worries.
below the second story. The window sill.
I don't think that's necessarily true, but I still don't think this is I don't think it's going to be an issue.
You're not blocking any views, and that's the whole thing for the window.
The other thing that's tricky is this says wall signs, but this is really a banner and not a wall sign. So it also doesn't quite fit in this
Right.
category. So
Awnings, canopies, marquees, painted wall signs. We haven't had a banner sign.
right, it's sort of, it doesn't really fit.
It isn't really addressed.
Right, except there is some mention of banners, but it doesn't
Yeah.
really call out. I mean, I think what they're proposing to do, I think it's fine. That's what I think. If we can get Bruce to approve the square footage issue, that would be my inclination.
I don't think it's particularly historic in its design. However, it certainly comes under surrounding area signs. Wiscasset Bay Gallery is the one that comes immediately to mind. So it's in keeping with the downtown.
Right. The
Area.
size of signs and letters shall be at an appropriate scale for pedestrians and traffic. Typefaces which are simple, easy to read, and scaled appropriately for both the sign and the building shall be used.
And if you look at the Wiscasset Bay Gallery sign, it's actually the length of the two windows.
Yeah. But it's an awning, which is a whole different. Anyway.
Not the vertical one.
So how do we make a motion to approve and COA, but still need to get Bruce's final say on the square footage?
We don't.
Okay.
We grant her COA.
Okay.
She then takes her sign application, which she's already filled out,
Okay. Good.
to Bruce,
Okay.
along with our decision, and says, I've cleared it with the HPC, and here's, I think that's,
Okay. I mean, I think I'm ready to, I'd like to make a motion that we, if you guys are ready, I'd like to make a motion that
we have a motion on the floor?
yes, I'd like to make a motion.
No,
Oh, we have a motion on the floor. Okay, then
we have a motion on the floor. Are you ready for the vote?
I'm ready for the vote.
I'm ready for the vote.
All those in favor of granting the COA? Thank you. Unanimous.
Congratulations,
Candy, that wasn't too painful, man. Thank you for being patient with
It's
this.
not from for a while.
Nice to see you.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you for the
wine and-
additional
When's
info
the first
too.
wine and cheese? Because it's getting wine and cheese time, isn't it?
Yeah, last Thursday. Please come
Yes.
to the art walk.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wait.
And what is the name of the disease?
There's 3 of them. Silver Gallery, Little Maine Mercantile, and Spruce.
Okay.
Would you like that?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
See Bruce, I guess on Monday, he's closed tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You can check his hours on his door.
Okay.
Does it go up? Thank you.
Hi, Ann.
Now. last month's minutes, which we all have a copy of.
Yes.
And you said that there was something missing?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Okay.
We see the resignation of John Reinhardt.
Yeah, that's pretty important.
Pretty much.
We left that in the minutes. I don't know why Marie didn't include that, but we do need to include that in there.
Mercy.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say that we could say the board accepted with regret the resignation of Chairman John.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Oh. May I have a motion?
I motion we approve them with the addition
As amended.
as amended.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Okay. So now, we get into more of the same. We keep going round and round on this. I think that we need, as I say, to have a workshop. Oh, Lord, I'm doing all this pen paper in here. Never mind, I'm wearing too many hats. I would like to schedule a workshop at some point, fairly soon,
Okay.
just to discuss a little more relaxedly maybe, or after we've had some time to think. It was not the process of getting a COA and in general the communication that is going on has got to stop.
The communication going on.
Everybody sending everybody emails. Essentially, everything should be filtered through one person, probably me as chairman. And it is my responsibility then to get in touch with Bruce or whoever else might be the person to get in touch with.
Okay.
But it's confusing for Bruce if all four of us are asking him about things and we have different ways of coming at it and all of that. And that just comes under our process.
Sounds like a good idea.
And I'm hoping that your flow chart, have you updated that at
I
all?
have.
Yay.
I thought I sent it out to all of us today, but if not, I'll send it tomorrow because I tweaked it a few more times.
I
Okay.
think I got today.
Do you see it in your email?
I've
We
been at
can
home all day, so.
7 a.m.
I sent, there's a newer version since 7 this morning, but
Okay.
I'll send one out to you guys tomorrow morning. I've tweaked it a bunch of times. I think it's just about ready. The only thing that I would like us to consider is, in our flow chart right now, we say something like, the completed COA needs to be ready for us to review by the first Tuesday of the month, whatever, however we worded it. It's a little bit confusing. But I wonder if we shouldn't, in part of this being more business friendly or friendly to the community, that we consider having 2 meetings a month if we have COAs that need to be reviewed, and not make people wait a whole month, maybe a month and a half for a COA review. I've gotten some people yelling at me on the street about these things, and so I'm a little bit open to some suggestions.
Is that part of the ordinance that needs to be changed?
No,
I think it's our discretion.
okay, then we'll have to definitely treat,
I think we have to wait and see if add Phil in on this,
I think that,
or do we have to get the select?
no, I think what we have to do is, as I say, a workshop, we can't quote unquote do anything in a workshop.
Right.
But we can discuss and get it ready for the next meeting.
Okay.
Bang out the kinks, so to speak.
Yeah. Exactly, and we can set another meeting if you want to in June,
Yeah, let's do that.
which would be June the what? 6th?
Today is the 6th, 13th, 20th.
Okay, 6th, 13th, 20th, that would be June 20th.
Okay. This can
And
be our workshop. Okay.
no, because
Oh, I see what you're
have a
saying.
meeting in between, a workshop in between. And I'll talk to John about whether he wants to facilitate it for us or not. But then on June 20th, we can take action, as it were.
Okay,
So we can bring what we have
workshop.
discussed at the, I think it's just a question of all of us having the same computer-generated reports
Sure.
and things. Because I know I've been working on this for what, 3 years? You've been working on it for a year and a half? Got a stack like that of changes, procedures, whatever.
Changes. Okay,
And,
we could do that.
So meet somewhere between now and the 20th.
yeah,
The 11th is voting day.
Ooh,
Yeah.
13th is swearing in day.
wow, okay. So we can't do that.
13th is swearing in day. The Bruins play the 12th.
true.
Hopefully not. Not a lot of time.
And we're going to have it here in the,
We have it here, check that calendar
Mhm.
to see who's here.
Well, we also have to check,
Bill?
May, June.
June 13th. Doesn't have any marks on it.
June 13th is the swearing in of the selectmen.
Oh, okay, it's not marked on the calendar.
What's the 17th?
It's a Monday.
17th is a Monday.
Yeah. Monday's usually fairly good for not having other meetings going on.
Okay, so,
So what I'll do is just, okay,
June 17th, 10 a.m. Okay, workshop,
tentative.
okay.
And I think that'll give us enough time. I'll talk to John on Monday. 8th is Friday closing.
Yeah, it's just a little bit disruptive.
Yeah, can we amend that?
Maybe we should amend our meeting date.
Right.
Oh, into that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a free dot on the spot that we?
What are we looking for? Something that's not the
I'm thinking maybe Monday?
Monday the 7th.
Mondays are not good because the holidays fall so often on Mondays.
Oh, right, true.
Planning board also meets on Monday, as well as the ORCP.
Yeah, but they meet every other Monday, and we meet them first and the third.
Well, they meet the first and the
Oh,
Or the other ones.
third. They're just not this week because they got, Memorial Day was last week.
What color are we?
Green with the blue star. It's beautiful. It's a
Yeah.
very pretty color combo. I like it.
Well, we can talk about that on Monday.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
maybe run it past, Kathy and see if she has any suggestions for that, as far as trying to avoid having things always get pushed.
Is that really
It's really not
a
gonna
big
work.
problem? I think we should leave it the way it is for now.
Okay?
You know,
Excuse me.
oh, is it on?
I think Jim's trying to get it.
Jim's trying to get it.
Is it locked?
He can't open the door.
Oh,
I saw you waving.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know what, I did see somebody's case in there before, so I don't know.
Hey, Jim.
We can stick the trash in there.
I unlocked it.
Maybe it's.
Well, I came through, there was somebody's cooler or
I
something.
couldn't go through. I had to go to town. Hey,
What are you doing to the small nail?
Hey, you. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
I was gonna call you the gardener because you kept walking past the house.
Is Phil coming?
No,
No,
Now.
Phil is
he's in
in
Vermont,
Vermont.
working on his something about his
He's final editing of
Final
his new
editing.
book.
on
Oh.
his new book.
Um, So that's a good thing.
So we're
Okay.
just working on scheduling and things that
And
talking about trying to get a workshop together and.
Mm-hmm.
Bang out some kinks.
as to one of the things that was also discussed, what I would like to do is assign each of us, because there's been such confusion about the ordinance and amendments, I'd like to assign each of us a section, and the rest of us will stay out of your way
Oh.
and let you figure out what needs to be changed in that section.
Are we talking about changes to the existing ordinance?
Yes, we are. We are going to have amendments to this ordinance by next year's annual town meeting,
Okay.
unless I'm dead.
God forbid.
But
that
we've got to
process
start
is-
working on it now.
Okay.
Because again, there's so much flying around, you know, that we have to get it all together. We have to get the planning board public hearing, approval from the selectmen, has to go to the ORC. If I missed anything, Jane?
No. And then it, of course, has to be approved by the voters.
Well, yeah. Hopefully so.
What happened to the changes that Gordon and John and Wendy were working on, or whoever was working on those?
Yeah.
What happened to
Did
them?
any of those go through?
No.
The
No,
poster, none of that stuff? Did
no,
No.
nothing got
There were some technical changes that passed the ORC. That
There were several changes that passed the ORC, but they never got
Put on the ballot.
put on the ballot. I'm not gonna say any more than that.
Okay,
This year, they're going to get put on the ballot.
right.
I've already discussed this with the town manager a little bit. But what I would like to do is, as I say, and again, this, you could all sort of look at the ordinance, and I'll get Phil in on this too, and see what section you would like to, and I will provide whatever we've got for suggestions, some of which were approved by the ORC, and we can keep those.
Yeah.
One of the things that they wanted to do was to drop some definitions because they couldn't find that they were used in the ordinance. Well, we can add those definitions into various sections. It just is not reasonable in an ordinance of this type to drop rehabilitation because it doesn't appear anywhere else in the ordinance. That's just an example. So if somebody took the like 10.1.2, all of those, one of the things that
Those are all
they would
definitions.
do is the definitions and see where we're missing definitions, which we could be, where those should be included in the body of the ordinance. Again, this is all sort of workshop material.
Yeah. Let's go through this one.
And as I say, whoever takes whatever section will be left alone by the rest of us until you bring it to us and we think, okay, that's fine. And then we'll take it all to the ORC.
Good.
And I think that we do not have to include our procedures in the actual body of the ordinance. But for instance, I think there are places that could be simplified in their presentation so that when we give somebody administrative procedures, if we can get words of one syllable rather than polysyllabics all the way, that would be a good thing. It just makes life easier for people, I think.
I agree. I think anything we can do to streamline, simplify, clarify our processes is a win. So that will be on the agenda for our workshop. And I assume
Yeah.
you've got a list of things we're going to cover. Okay.
And are you here for a reason? Can we help? Are you?
Came to listen in?
Okay.
Being a citizen.
We like that.
And the only other thing I'll say, and this will be a workshop thing, and this is another thing that we need to streamline. I am not willing to have our members put in the way of people being rude to us. And I'm not in favor of any of us being rude to them because they're rude to us.
Yeah.
I mean, which is the hardest thing in the world that I'm asking you to do. Because I know that my fuse is very short. My dentist asked me one time why I had ground my teeth so much since he'd seen me. And I said, well, 3 open town meetings later, yeah, I'm grinding my teeth. But this is important, and it shouldn't have to be said, but I don't know if you heard the latest thing about one of our employees being attacked.
Oh, I did hear that.
That is not acceptable. If somebody gets abusive, walk away.
Right.
Just turn your back and walk away. And that will irritate them, to be sure, but it's important.
I agree.
Um,
On the other hand, if we are able to have a conversation with somebody and help them see perhaps another side in a pleasant way and sell them on why the historic district is important and why the HPC does good work, that's
Absolutely.
And encourage them to come to a meeting.
Yes, see what we're really all about.
And that sort of makes me, you know, and maybe this is another workshop topic, but I think we need to really start working on good PR, you know. Pam's doing a great job on the Facebook page, thank you very much.
And Instagram too.
I have not used Instagram yet. So Pam's been doing a great job on Facebook, and David Pope said he'd be open to writing our first, like, before and after house renovation story, because he's got such a great, I mean, he did such a great job on his house. So it's something I thought we could start doing on our Facebook page. And maybe we can get somebody like Gina or Charlotte to write an article about why property values, you know, are so strong in a historic district, and start getting people in the community to understand why historic districts are important. Just a thought. Because I've been,
If we could get some of the realtors
that's, yeah, I
to
actually.
be actively on board, and I was thinking that perhaps for a meeting down the road, when we have a COA, just drop a note to the realtors, say, please come to our meetings, see what we're doing, and, you know, just, because I think that I've been sort of discouraged that there haven't been realtors at our meetings.
And the
For any
and the
inquiries.
only one that I know of that's pretty active in the town is very against the HPC, so
Yes.
that's hard, that hurts the feelings. But I did leave a message for Tyson Sewell.
So, yeah.
And asked him if he would be interested in talking to us a little bit about property values. I mean, he just put Bill and Esther's house under contract so quickly, and it closed a really good price. So I'm thinking that somebody like him would be able to speak to property values for historic, you know, houses in the historic district.
And I think Tyson would do it. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a
Yeah,
neat kid.
he's good.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he told me, you know, my house is in the historic district. I'm in Village 2. Across the street is Village 1. You know, but
Yeah,
so-
one thing you might want to blog about next on Facebook or whatever is the newest issue of Maine Homes magazine
Oh, yeah.
had a feature on historic
Sally's
houses.
house. Yeah.
they always do. Yeah.
But they did a little window on Wiscasset too, and they had a big photograph of
Sally's
Bill and
house.
Sally Gimmel's
Yeah.
house on High Street, and talked about some of the other architectural gems in town.
That's a good point.
They're coming this summer to my house.
They are?
Mhm.
Down east? Or Maine Homes?
Maine Homes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been in touch with Sarah for a couple of years, so she's like, what are you doing this summer?
Will they let us, would we be able to have the article that they just ran of the mention of Sally's house or the houses in Wiscasset on our Facebook page?
Oh, I can probably just do a link to them, yeah,
Okay.
because I believe that we like their page and we can just share that information.
That would be nice.
Mhm.
What are we doing about we were going to send out a postcard to everybody in the historic district and remind them, hey, you're in the historic district. And we can point them to the Facebook page and the flow chart and all that stuff. Are we
Yep.
almost ready?
Have we designed the postcard?
Yeah, we have actually. We just need to
Okay.
get it printed out.
Okay, can you shoot me a copy of it?
I will.
So I may be able to print it.
We have to tweak it a little bit because now we have a Facebook page. We can point people to the Facebook
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
And
And
Instagram.
Instagram. Mhm.
What's Instagram?
Instagram is like Facebook for pictures.
Yeah.
Instagram is where the hashtag stems from, kind of, sort of. So, like when I post to Instagram, you can do 30 hashtags, and then, and I have I don't know, how is it?
On second thought,
It's pretty,
ignorance is bliss.
It's like Facebook for pictures.
Yeah,
but,
that's
but there's really no like conversation. It's more,
Visual.
visual,
Yeah.
it's very visual, and it's basically, you know, I go around town and say, here's this house and how old it is, and here hashtag, you know, New England, scenes of Maine, scenes of New England, Irish New England, you know, and just hashtag up to 30, and then that gets spread out to everybody, and then I, as like administrator of the Instagram page, like several other pages, and then that gets spread. It's like a big web that goes out, and then you get more and more people, and then more and more people come to the town and visit. I had somebody recently who said, what did they do? They're like, oh, I was just walking around and at Mammy's and everything. And I'm like, oh, well, did you come and did you see this? Did you see that? And they're like, oh, no, so next time I'm in town, I'll come back and see that.
Nice.
Mhm.
So it gives them
That's
more
good.
reason to come back. And I said, oh, you should see the new changes that we had over here. And, oh, okay, yeah. So just a little bit more information.
I'm all for it.
Yep.
I mean, as long as you're willing to do it and allow.
She's really good at that.
A little more information here and there, and just, it's, you know, it's hard as far as HPC because we kind of regulate how things go, but it's more keeping the historic aspects of Wiscasset out there, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, we link also to like the museum in the streets, and, you know, so everything, yeah.
And that was another question. Can we work with Museum in the Streets to expand the properties that are on it currently? Can we get more houses added to Museum in the Streets?
I don't know, I
Is that
contacted
anything?
Ed, and that was like a year ago, and so.
I've spoken to Ed about a couple of properties. I was willing to pay for a sign for 1812 magazine. I was willing to sponsor that, but the problem is they've got to coordinate with this entity, Museum in the Streets Incorporated too, who has overhead, which adds that onto everything too.
So what would it
So it
cost?
gets rather expensive.
Well, I maybe do like a every 3 to 5 year assessment, or maybe every 5-year assessment, because maps have to be drawn up and additions have to be added, changes like that.
Well-
So that does get costly.
Ed and, I'm trying to remember who else. It's Ed and Susan Robeson, and who else works on that Museum in the Streets. I'm trying to remember someone else I was just talking to the other day. But they're trying to get incorporated under that whole blanket. So I think they and the North Walk are being folded in with the Friends under some larger blanket so they can get a 501c3 status and do some fundraising.
This is the Museum in the Streets? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the Streets, the Art Walk, Good Friends of Wiscasset Village, somebody else.
And they're trying to come up with a catchy name for the overall blanket, which,
That seems like a kind of a disparate.
well, I have a feeling it's,
Conglomerate.
well, I mean, they're all got different agendas, so I'm not sure how well that's gonna all flow, but,
I would really like for us to work more closely with Museum in the Streets somehow
oh,
because
absolutely, absolutely.
if we could do a property a year, even just a property a year,
But not only that, I mean, let me get the doors from out of lock here.
Okay, well,
Somebody else wandering around?
Go. We're just,
the Duke is waiting for me.
enjoy your show. Enjoy it. Thanks, Gina.
The Bruins are waiting.
So, I mean, the newest issue of our brochure was published last week, and I brought a bunch over here to the,
Oh, it's really nice looking.
I brought it over to the town, thinking that they must have, like, thinking of moving to Wiscasset, thinking of starting a business in Wiscasset packets. So I brought them over saying,
It's a great
you
idea.
should include this in the packet for people, you know, things to do and what's going on in town and stuff. And they looked at me blankly.
Yeah.
Now, Linda wasn't there at the time, and there's a new woman who works in admin who I've never seen before. She's new to me anyhow. All these years I've never, kind of older and very tall and lean. I didn't recognize her.
Oh, was she the woman that swung me in? Darkish hair, shoulder length?
That's Linda's.
no, that's not a new
That's Linda,
one.
right?
No, no,
Anyhow,
no, Linda.
she didn't seem to know much about anything, but I mean,
We don't have any.
they don't have anything like that.
It's too
I
bad.
don't know.
But this is something we've been discussing, to make this town more business friendly too. There needs to be, so Kim's working on the checklist for that right now, streamlining that whole, how to set up a business in town.
Chamber of Commerce.
Right. Yeah,
Chamber of Commerce, what?
they should have this.
Oh, yeah, well,
And they should, we should somehow figure out a way to work with them.
well, it's interesting, and since she's gone.
But don't forget, you're still on,
We're broadcasting, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're on YouTube.
well, I
But we
mean,
will be having a workshop.
this brochure is completely funded by all of the downtown art and antiques galleries and businesses, but it also includes all the museums, which we underwrite, put them all in. So everybody's hours of operations and a very improved map that Kim put together that shows all the new parking. So we put this out every year. And yeah, anyhow, having some type of Wiscasset focused package of information both for new businesses and new residents would be worthwhile.
I wonder if we could get this to like Tyson.
Like get realtors to,
Mm-hmm.
the realtors.
Well, I'll probably drop
Because
a
it's a good
packet, I'll
idea.
probably drop a batch of this over with Ravis,
Yep. Talk to
Because-
Tyson, yeah. He's,
Tyson and then the owner was our realtor. Can't believe I'm brain dead. Anyhow.
me too.
Anyhow, yeah, get it into the hands of realtors as well. I mean, we're placing these at various, I ran twice as many as we did last year. But they're heavily used, and people use them when they're going around town on the walks and stuff.
Beautiful job, it looks really good.
But it wasn't that expensive to print. We actually, I went out for competitive bids and Lincoln County Printing came in. They did them last year too.
That is so good to go local.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I agree.
Do you have these at Big Al's?
I'm sorry?
Do you have these at Big Al's?
No,
No?
no. We don't have that many to give out that we're just gonna
Right.
go willy-nilly.
Oh, okay.
We kind of targeted people who are gonna be interested in history, so we placed them strategically.
What about
Historic
the
museums.
Edgecombe?
Edgecombe Historic Society?
No, that complex over there.
The Water's Edge?
Water's Edge.
The Water's Edge or the
In the
Cottonwood
rental
Inn?
property.
Right, yeah, that's a good
That-
idea, yeah.
Really an
Do you know,
excellent. No.
But if we can get these packets together where, so a new visitor to town, they've got your flow chart, they've got the checklist,
They
that
should
can
have that.
always be inserted in a packet for anyone who's moving into Village One, Village
Yep.
Two.
That's right,
You know.
I agree. A map that clearly shows the historic district,
Mhm.
so there's no question where their property is.
Mhm. In a way, it would be kind of, to look at this, I mean, these are too expensive to get ready, but I don't know. But yeah, some type of folder can be, a packet can be made available that, that when they have their first contact here, there's this packet that's given to someone. Because, I mean, that's the first thing we did when we started looking around here, is we came to the town offices and said, well,
It would be
can
really
you give us
nice
information? And
to have like this and feature the historic properties in town, a little bit of history about the town and all the amazing properties.
But back to your workshop and the ordinance, frankly, other than some of the stuff that was tackled and I guess never put through and covered previously,
Is somebody trying to get in?
Is that Frank's Trade?
Yeah, it is.
Frank Sprague, thought this is the front meeting. It's really the addenda, it's the guidebook, the nuts and bolts stuff that shouldn't be in the ordinance per se, you just
Right,
reference.
that's
Mhm.
one of the things that, with another hat, I'm working on is redoing the little Wiscasset book, little history book that the library used to sell.
Mhm.
Oh, that's great.
So, working on that.
No, but the book I'm talking about is what, I don't mean it to be a book, but
No, I know,
Oh.
but this is just another thing that, might be able, if we could get something underwritten by somebody,
Yeah,
and I can think of somebody who might,
I can too.
it might very well be, if HMKson would like to support us, and they might, because they like supporting people, and they like Wiscasset, and they like me.
It's a win-win-win.
Yeah, when I was working for the Deponte, I worked with them for years. And they're, you have to have a hook, but we could come up with one, I think.
Well, yeah, we could definitely, there's a lot we can do to make things better around here. It's just gonna be a matter of us staying really organized.
And,
Maybe we can get together also with the library and because there are a plethora of information up in the archives.
yeah, the
And that
trouble with
is,
that is they're getting them cataloged. As soon as they're cataloged, I volunteered to photograph them, because I did all the photographs of not all, but worked on the court papers years ago, which was, what was involved was taking the court records, steaming them, opening them, ironing them, photographing them,
Oh, my word.
and in the attic was fun. So I've said, and I will chili them to keep on moving with that, because they've got it about 2/3 done, and they don't want to start photographing until they've got the whole thing done, which is reasonable enough. The other thing, this is just one other thing that was on my agenda. I'll be very brief so you can get home to Bruins.
Bruins.
Bruins, okay. I want to figure out how we get a completed history, I can't think of the word, of contributing houses, the ones that haven't been researched. And at the moment, I'm working on seeing exactly how many there are. Then I think we go through them and say, okay, this one is not contributing. And then all the other ones are contributing. And then we get either the owners or high school kids doing community service, or everybody who belongs to LCHA to do one house.
That wouldn't hurt. I mean,
If you,
it's
I think
really
it's
hard to get LCHA to do that, because they're all the people that volunteer for them are already volunteered to the maps.
Yeah. But something else might.
Right. I mean, some people are into their houses. David Pope is an example. Some people have already done a whole bunch of research on
Right,
this,
and
and the info is there.
the information is there, but it would be very important, I think, if we ever go for the CLG,
Yeah.
which,
It's amazing how, like, Holly and Carl across from me, they have a book that's been passed on through the original owners
Wow.
and changes that have been made to their house and different things that have gone on with their house. And hopefully, who knows how many of those books exist, I mean,
Do you know what the criteria is for a house to be considered contributing? I mean, aside from it being like it.
yeah, I've got a thing.
Does it have to be over 50 years old, right? It has to be, it's still pretty authentic to the time it was
And they'd
built.
like some sort of connection with an historic event or an historic George Washington slept here?
Yeah, it's an either or though. It could be, if it's architecturally significant, that's one criteria. If it's historically significant, it's another criteria. So the house itself may be no great shakes, but if an important event happened there or an important personage was there, then suddenly, boom.
Yeah.
Speaking further afield, I got an abutters letter last Thursday from Chewonki Foundation, which is going through a major master plan expansion, $20 million worth. So phase one is putting a group of cabins in for girls along the Chewonki Creek side. So anyhow, I went and met with some of the leadership there and walked the grounds and everything. I had concerns for environmental stuff, but most of my fears were allayed. They've got a pretty good plan there. But what I did was I looked at their overall master plan, and Bruce has a copy of the master plan that they submitted to the town back in December. In the master plan, because they're required to do some environmental assessment, there's a list of their classified structures. And there's a lot of them that are over 50 years old. Now what troubled me a little bit, and I mentioned it just in passing, you know, that it troubled me that I saw so many scheduled for tear down and destruction and replacement with newer cabins and this and that, because some of the things, I mean, there's a nondescript farmhouse that doesn't have any architectural importance and this and that, but it was part of one of the original farms that they think, well, I can see that going, and it's in a strategic location. But the thing that they do have there, which are really interesting, is they've got these 1920s, 1930s, and 1940s main cabins. And they're just classic examples of, you know, the quintessential cabins from these periods of these camps. So I'm hoping we can urge them to preserve at least one example of each.
Yeah.
Even if they have to be easily moved and moved elsewhere on the campus and reutilized or something. You know, each one of these examples, there should be one of them saved. They're really, really cool structures.
So you got the notice that about the walkthrough, the hearing at 7?
There's going to be a hearing, you're right. I got
On
the
the 10th.
butters got the note on the hearing on the 10th. So I won't be there. I'll probably be out of town on business. So.
It should be on YouTube. It should be here.
No, but I'm just saying, you know, if somebody has a chance to go look at that, just to reiterate to them, it would be nice to see some of that preserved, saved. I mean, that's going to be years down the road. I don't think
Yeah.
they're still going to do a lot of fundraising and things. And phase one is this construction of this new girls camp, which doesn't hurt any cultural resources. It doesn't impact anything at all. So that's fine. And they're real cognizant, but you know, anything we can do to encourage them.
Oh, for so many people, and I think that certainly the people who are going to be major contributors for them, they stayed in those cabins.
Right,
And
exactly.
their kids did, and their grandparents did.
And that was the example I was giving us, saying, you know, when I was at my undergraduate university, was the oldest one in Ohio, the original 2 dormitories, which were built in 1809, they were small, and you would think inadequate. Who would want to live in those things, the small rooms? But they were on the center campus, and they were turned into honors dorms. And you vied to get a spot in those dorms. I mean, it was like this real distinction. And so that's what I proposed, is you might want to take some of these, if you got this honor
It's a
level
really good
students,
idea.
and
Maybe
you've done this service, or you've done above and beyond, you get
Yeah.
to stay in the 1920s.
Yeah,
or
it's a really
something
good
like
idea.
that.
That's cool.
So anyhow, outside the village, I mean, there's things going on too.
Yeah.
Even though the main thing is Village 1 and Village 2 that need to be eyeballed.
You know, speaking of Chewonki, made me remember that one of the discussions at this bicentennial, the first bicentennial meeting, which I talked to you about, was this idea that every town in Lincoln County contributes. They were talking about a pine tree to create a grove, and each tree had a plaque that lists the name of the town and when it was founded, blah, blah, blah. But Jim had an even better idea. He said, why don't we do heritage apple trees instead? Because apples are so important around here and way less huge than a giant pine tree, plus you get fruit. I'm wondering if Chewonki, like where would we plant such a grove?
Oh, it's part of it. I think they'd be keen on that. I was really impressed. They were telling me about some of their ag programs, and they're doing some very neat things. And they're when they put the new pasture land in for their livestock, part of the old pasture land, which is close to this one old farmhouse and these barns that they restored, they're going to take an acre of the old pasture land and make dedicated expanded gardens.
Well, then
So
that would
I
be
think
really
orchard
good fit.
management, I'm sure they're doing some already, but bringing in
Okay.
some heritage apple things,
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
yeah, it would be,
Okay.
it would be.
Pine
I'm at
trees
the
are
end
really
of my
nice.
agenda.
When is your plan for your workshop,
Oh.
excuse me, since I came in late?
She has,
I,
Working out the kinks instead of.
I would, yeah, working out the kinks.
Okay,
I would
Communication kinks and.
accept a motion to adjourn.
I'm going that we adjourn.
I second the motion.
Thank you.
Motion is adjourned.
Let me shut this off.
Ouch.